is CBS News Miami.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. I'm Naja Sherman, and welcome to CBS News Miami's 4 p.m. Quickcast. Let's take a look at today's top stories, and we begin with breaking news. A recovery operation is underway after a tragic mid-air crash. It was between an American Airlines passenger jet and a military helicopter in Washington, D.C. Sadly, there are no survivors. 28 bodies have been pulled from the water. 60 passengers and 4 crew members were on that American Airlines passenger jet. 3 soldiers were on the Army helicopter before the deadly mid-air collision. CBS News Miami's Erica Brown reports from Reagan National Airport in Virginia.
Recovery efforts on the Potomac River continued Thursday afternoon in one of the deadliest U.S. aviation accidents in recent history. CCTV captured the moment when an Army Black Hawk helicopter collided with an American Airlines regional jet as it prepared to land at Reagan National Airport last night.
At this point, we don't believe there are any survivors from this accident.
The National Transportation Safety Board is leading the investigation into how the collision occurred.
We have not recovered the flight data recorders yet. We know they're there. They are underwater.
President Trump appeared in the briefing room requesting a moment of silence for the victims.
We are one family, and today we are all heartbroken. We're all searching for answers.
He then quickly pointed a finger at the previous administration's hiring practices.
The FAA is actively recruiting workers who suffer severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and other mental and physical conditions under a diversity and inclusion hiring initiative.
Democrats pushed back.
For the President of the United States to throw out idle speculation as bodies are still being recovered and families still being notified. It just turns your stomach.
Flights have resumed here at Reagan National Airport after they were paused for nearly 14 hours, though several hundred were canceled and others delayed.
American Eagle Flight 5342 originated in Wichita, Kansas, where a prayer service was held Thursday.
But the only way that we will get through this is together.
Officials say flight conditions were clear Wednesday night. Erica Brown, CBS News, Arlington, Virginia.
CBS News Miami's Morgan Reiner spoke with passengers at MIA who arrived from D.C. They knew some of the victims on that flight. Here's what they had to say.
I have 2 kids that I just found out from my daughter's high school that were on the flight. We have other friends that lost a family member, so it's extremely tragic. It was very, very hard to get on a plane this morning.
I can't imagine hearing that people that you know are on it. It brings it. I mean, it was already home for you, but knowing that there's people you know that were on that flight, what goes through your mind?
Sadness, and just empathy for these families that out of nowhere lost a loved one, and the loss of hope really quickly. I think knowing how dark and cold and icy the water was. It was a long night for all of us.
Stay with CBS News Miami for continuing coverage of this deadly mid-air collision. We're going to have the very latest on air and online throughout the day.
Always alerting, always tracking. This is Next Weather.
And taking a live look outside, a warm and mostly sunny day across South Florida. That shot looks a little hazy. Next weather meteorologist Shane Hinton joins us now. And Shane, sounds like the warm weather sticks around for a bit.
That's right. And I actually want to highlight a few things you said. You mentioned the warm weather. You mentioned stick around, which I think the humidity certainly makes it feel a bit stickier. And you also pointed out the haze right there. And I'm glad you did, Naja, because we're going to talk about that a little bit. First, let's start with the temperatures. Mid-70s. We've made it into the upper 70s for our peak heating of the afternoon. And yes, it does look a bit hazy out there, so I thought I'd show you the air quality index, where most of South Florida is dealing with a moderate on the air quality index. Now, yesterday we also saw some areas kind of fall into this ballpark. It is worth noting that now that the winds have picked up from the east, we've actually seen some improvements for southern portions of Miami-Dade County. But if you are someone who maybe has any chronic lung conditions, maybe move that run indoors for the afternoon and the early evening. Dew points are sitting in the mid to upper 60s. These are significantly higher than what we were tracking a few days ago, and then also last week when we were dealing with much drier air. Unfortunately, we're on an upward trajectory for our humidity, which means it's going to feel a lot stickier as we head into the weekend. But maybe you're someone who doesn't want to use as much moisturizer for your face. Mother Nature will help you out there, okay? As we walk you through the rest of today, you'll notice temperatures gradually decline into the lower 70s by 8 or 9 o'clock. I do think we are going to have a warmer night in store for us than we've had for the previous nights and mornings this past week. Look at this. We'll wake up tomorrow in the mid to upper 60s. Can't rule out the potential for maybe a little bit of fog to develop for some of our inland areas for portions of Broward and Miami-Dade County, but I'm not expecting any widespread visibility issues for my morning commuters tomorrow. Speaking of tomorrow, look at this. We climb into the upper 70s to lower 80s. I do think we'll have a little bit of cloud coverage that could maybe keep many areas from getting to that 80-degree threshold. Regardless, though, it's still going to feel like it whenever you factor in that humidity. And that warming trend only continues as we head into the weekend. We've got a forecast of 83 on Saturday. That would fall just shy of the 85-degree record set only back in 2023. But let's be honest, we don't get into the lower 80s for our normal daytime highs until March 1st, and we are expected to confidently remain in that through the weekend. We do have a cold front that's expected to move into parts of Florida and then kind of stall and then eventually fizzle out as we make our way into Sunday and Monday, and that'll bring some isolated shower chances with it, but most of you're going to be dry, okay? Upper 70s to lower 80s for the next several days. As we look ahead to next week, you will notice that we're going to hold on to the lower 80s. Those mornings are going to be a little bit more on the steamier side. If we don't want to say sticky too much, upper 60s to lower 70s is what you'll be greeted with as you walk out the door Monday through Thursday of next week. Naja.
Warm weather is back. Thank you, Shane. Now at 4, Chopper 4 over the scene of an accident involving a Brightline train in Hallandale Beach. Police say a person was hit this morning near Dixie Highway and Southwest 11th Street. The victim was taken to Aventura Hospital. Their condition is not known. Also this afternoon, a bad crash. It ended with a car and a canal in Davie. Police say the driver lost control and crashed into a concrete barrier. It happened along Southwest 51st Avenue and Orange Drive before rolling into the water. The car then continued to roll into a nearby canal. Investigators say the driver managed to escape unharmed. The vehicle was later towed out of the water. New details this afternoon on 2 people found dead inside a Miami home. Police now calling it a murder-suicide. It involved a boyfriend and girlfriend. Their bodies were found last night in a home. This is in the area of Northeast 1st Avenue and 59th Street. Their identities have not been released. New evidence in the sex trafficking case against the Alexander brothers. We are seeing video recorded statements of 3 women. They described violent sexual encounters. Video was released by Miami-Dade prosecutors. In one clip, a woman's identity is concealed and her voice altered. She told investigators about an alleged sexual attack by Oren and Alon Alexander. She says it happened 8 years ago at a Miami Beach condo.
He brought me to his bedroom and is starting to kiss me again after downstairs, and I was like, I didn't want to have sex with him. And I start pulling away, and as I'm pulling away, he starts to get more aggressive. Okay. Kissing me more strongly, holding me firmly, and he ripped the top of my dress off.
The brothers are in federal custody in New York. They are awaiting trial along with their brother Tal. When we come back, new developments out of the Middle East. A prisoner swap, more hostages released, and we are seeing new video of that frantic handover. Welcome back to CBS News Miami's 4 p.m. Quickcast. President Trump's Middle East envoy is in Tel Aviv today. They are visiting families of hostages who gathered to watch live video of Hamas releasing more Israeli captives. CBS News Miami's Haley Ott is in Tel Aviv with the very latest.
Chaos in Gaza as Israeli hostages Arbel Yehud and Gadi Moses were handed over to the Red Cross. Crushing crowds surrounded 29-year-old Yehud, who looked terrified as Hamas fighters moved her along. Earlier Thursday, in another part of Gaza, 20-year-old Agam Berger, an Israeli soldier, was set free. It's the 3rd time militants have let hostages go since a ceasefire took hold in the Gaza Strip earlier this month, and was a stark contrast to the slick choreography of previous releases. The frantic scene sparked outrage from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who ordered a delay in Thursday's Palestinian prisoner exchange. Hours later, more than 100 were turned over. In Tel Aviv, Israelis celebrated the homecoming of more hostages. But there was desperation for the return of the rest.
We need them all, the dead ones and the alive hostages, everybody back.
After 15 months of relentless war, long-awaited reunions like this offer a glimmer of hope for families still waiting. Haley Ott, CBS News, Tel Aviv.
The ceasefire deal has allowed truckloads of aid into the devastated Gaza Strip. Happening tonight, Miami-Dade Mayor Daniela Levine-Cava will deliver her 2025 State of the County address. This is her first address of her second term. According to her office, the speech will outline her administration's accomplishments, key priorities, and visions for the future. They say the mayor's speech is an opportunity for her to engage with residents and stakeholders from across the community, highlighting collaboration and shared progress. She speaks tonight at 6 p.m. at Miami Senior High School. And that's your CBS News Miami Quickcast. I'm Naja Sherman. Stay tuned for more news right here on CBS News Miami, and have a great day.